Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome to Freshly Guarded episode 123, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. We have a new canvas, which you can't tell probably on screen because it looks basically exactly the same as last one. The logo is slightly bigger, but it's just cleaner and in better condition. We're actually going to auction the old canvas off for charity, inshallah. So we're going to release the details for that soon. We might even auction it on the event, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's proving too difficult for us to sort out.
I think that's a good idea, you know.
It is a good idea, isn't it?
That is definitely a good shout. Did you just come up with that now?
I was thinking about it, but I don't want to maybe we can auction it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll think of it.
Fine.
Yeah.
Guys, the voice that you are listening to right now that you just heard who said, good idea, is Yusuf. Yusuf, you know when I do the description of this video, how do you want me to put your name? Because you have, as a Turkish man, you have many names. And
we're going to go into another podcast.
Yeah, I know, you're going to another podcast. So I know that you have many different names. How would you want me to put it? Should I put, because you're saved in my phone as Yusuf Unal, you know that?
Just Yusuf.
No, you have to have a last name.
Right. A last name? Okay, Yusuf. Just do Yusuf Unal.
Fine.
Yeah.
So we are joined by Yusuf Unal, who has many names because he's Turkish. But actually, Turkish names are so...
There's a story behind that. It's not even,
is it?
Yeah.
We can't get... We'll have to say that for another podcast. Yusuf is the guy who he's on the Freshly Guarded management team, and he manages. He's part of the team who manages the events that we do. So this is our second official event, and Yusuf ran the first event in terms of a lot of the backstage stuff, along with Abdul Samad and he's kind of as I go in to mention on the podcast, the backbone of these live events that we do. So we kind of go into that. We talk about a few things in this episode. We talk about your laser eye surgery that you got.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. We talk about that at the beginning, and also we talk about kind of different things like when we change accents, it's just a bunch of different things. But this kind of episode is my favorite type of episode because it's just a conversation and we go really deep into some matters, and again, always off the cuff, unscripted, but we really talk about a lot. We talk about the importance of the Freshly Guarded events, the importance of the Freshly Guarded brand, why it means so much to us from the perspective of kind of the management side, I suppose, from the perspective of the behind the scenes side. And we talk quite a bit about that side of things, the side of things that aren't heard about normally on Freshly Guarded. So that's interesting. Guys, we are, as this episode is released, we're about 1 week and 1 day or something away from our live event, Operation Excellence. Yusuf, why should people book their tickets to Operation Excellence? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, this is really putting me on the spot. SubhanAllah, if you was there the last time, you would not, the vibe that was created last time, you can't experience the same thing on video. And I believe actually Jibril said that.
Yeah, he did.
Jibril actually said that as well, and he was one of the people on the event that day. You're not gonna get the same experience. That's number one. Number two is, Faisal. He comes up with the most amazing ideas when it comes to you really do the thing that you mentioned to me. I can't mention it, but the most funniest things that you would ever experience would be on the Freshly Guarded show.
Inshallah, people have a good time. Guys, look, there are some tickets remaining at the time of this recording. So grab them fast, inshallah. The way you can grab your ticket is freshlyguarded.com/tickets. More than anything, you'll be showing so much support and love to us. We planned this amazing event, and I think there's going to be times where people are going to laugh. I think there's going to be times where people are going to cry. I think there's going to be times where people are inspired, and inshallah there will be no times where people are bored.
Inshallah.
Guys, it's going to be an amazing event, and as Yusuf said, the atmosphere in the room and in the theatre is something that you can't feel outside of. You can't feel it on YouTube. You can't. So we really do urge you guys to come and enjoy the event. Freshlygrounded.com/tickets. You can get 20% off by using the code Instagram, and just enjoy yourself, guys. Come down. We really urge you guys to enjoy it.
Did you mention about the mugs?
What about them?
Did you put them on sale?
Yeah, we put the mugs on sale. They're Freshly Guarded mugs and also FG Tribe mugs.
Yeah.
And we're also putting these canvases on sale. That canvas there, the FG Tribe one. Yeah. And the other Freshly Guarded, basically a small version of this, we're putting that on sale as well.
This one's really nice.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
I used a different place this time, actually.
It's actually really nice.
Isn't
Inshallah.
it?
I actually like it better than the other one.
Yeah, it is. The other one's here, look.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't see how bad condition it's in.
Yeah.
But close up, you can see it's been battered, bro. That's been to Bristol, Dubai. everywhere, bro. It's been on the
Subhanallah.
events. Like, it's really, that has gone through a really hard time in the almost 3
It's got
years.
history
of
though.
Bro, 3 years ago.
It's been 3 years,
no,
yeah.
16, yeah, 3 years ago next
Subhanallah.
month, we came up with the idea of Freshly Grounded. We came up with the
Subhanallah.
idea in October 2016.
SubhanAllah. And look how far it's come.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
And then our first episode was February 2017. Or
Wow.
February 2016, February 2017, inshallah. Yeah.
So there's a couple more months to go for that.
Yeah. But
more,
the
few more.
idea came together after our trip in Gambia, which was in
SubhanAllah.
October 2016.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah. We should do something special. Probably not.
For what?
Well, it's not Eid, is
October.
it? Yeah.
In October?
Yeah.
Think of it.
I don't think we can. It's fine. There's
We got the thing anyway.
there's 2
The
Eids
show
for
is
the
anyway.
Muslims, Akhi. There's 2 Eids of the Muslims.
Yes.
We'll enjoy those.
We do.
Guys, this is episode 123. Oh, 123.
Is it 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I think so. But it's just funny saying that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 123. Oh my gosh, bro. See, because normally we don't film an episode this late. I've got. Oh my gosh, my phone is just got so many notifications. Man, I don't love getting notifications at night time.
Nighttime.
Yeah.
Nighttime is the worst, isn't it?
And you just want to be.
You just want to zone out.
Night time should be left alone. Innit? Guys, look, sorry, we're having a natter already, and we just we haven't
1,
got
2,
to
3.
1, 3. Guys, this is episode 123 of Freshly Grounded with Yusuf Unal, who has joined me for the intro as well. Enjoy.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
There you go. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faizu and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
No, after that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faizu and Sam.
Really?
First of all, one thing I want to know about that I haven't spoken to you about since you've had done is your eye surgery.
My eye surgery, yeah.
How did that go? So just to reiterate, so you, because since I've known you, you've always had glasses and
Yeah.
had that really thick ones.
Yeah.
So when did you decide that you're going to go through the laser eye surgery, and then how was it?
So when I was about 5 years old, that's when I remember it's about 5 years, yeah, maybe 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. That's when I started wearing glasses. So literally, from when I remember myself, I've always wore glasses. It was never like an issue, or it was never like something like where, oh, like why am I wearing glasses or anything like that. I was always like, it's just something you deal with. You know when you have something when there's
When you're 5, bro, you're wearing glasses.
yeah.
That's odd.
Why?
5's quite young to wear glasses.
Yeah, it's just something, innit? So I just feel like it was just one of them things that I just live with. It was nothing like even the laser eye surgery that I got. It was never something like I need to get my eyes done. I was always content with it. Do you know what I mean? So, alhamdulillah, I got to it was about 2-3 months ago that I got it done. So the reason why, to be honest, I wanted to change it up here is because it was just more convenient. It costs a lot of money to just get glasses, and then the thing with my ones, mine was a -5. I don't know. Do you know about your numbers?
I don't know what that means.
Glasses?
I think I might be -1.
Yeah, your one's probably because let me see your thing.
It's not that thick. Your glasses were thick.
Yeah, no, they was thick and they was thinned down.
Really?
Yeah, they was
So
thinned
the
down.
thickness of a pair of glasses does kind of connotate how how little a person can see. 'Cause
Yeah,
sometimes you people with thick glasses, you think,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah.
I thought that was a stereotype.
No. So it's -5 is basically you're blind.
And now, what you like now? You can see everything.
Literally now. See, this is the thing, because my eyes are healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do see everything clear, but with writing I still find a bit of difficulty. Apparently that's gonna over time it's just
you
gonna
got a
heal,
posh
and it's
job.
just so over time apparently it's gonna heal and stuff
Did
like
you
that.
go to Turkey and get it done?
Yeah, I got it done
Oh
in Turkey.
no, you're joking. I was
Yeah.
joking,
no, I got it done in Turkey, obviously.
bro. And they're saying you're like, and you spoke
I
to
got it
them.
done
and
for
you said-
£600 each.
You spoke to them and you said, "Oh, I still can't read writing properly." They're like, no, it's healing, it's healing.
you know how much
and you
is
got
it?
it done in Turkey, bruv.
Do you know how much
Obviously,
it is?
that's why you can't see writing, bro.
It's about $3,500 here.
Yeah, it's massive,
Yeah.
but also when people get done here, they can then read writing.
No, do you know what it is? I know so many people that got it done.
I don't think that is
No,
gonna. I don't think you're gonna see writing, bro.
I know so many people that got it done, and alhamdulillah, that one's fine. But for some reason, I don't know. Do you know what it is? Just recently, it's really been bugging me. So basically, I just contacted them yesterday. I contacted the place that I got it done in Turkey, And so basically I had to go to the opticians, get my eyes tested again. And then I sent it to him and I said, look, these are the problems that I'm going through. Is, you know, what's the issue? Yeah. And he just said, oh, the numbers that you gave me, it shows that it's getting better. I'm just like, but what's the problem?
Bruv, that is a joke.
and I sent it to him. I literally sent it to him again. And then he literally didn't reply to the message. So I'm going to see what he's going to say. But alhamdulillah, it is a ni'mah. Because I don't have to wear glasses no more. Like, for the time being.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, it's a lot better, but you can't read writing.
No, I can. But, like, say, for example, I'm on a motorway and let's say...
Just to let you know, there are some policemen who watch this.
Huh?
We have some of our listeners are in the police, so just be careful what you're saying. As I'm driving and I can't see it.
No, I can see what it says there. Freshly grounded there. I can see...
Can you read that? Freshlygrounded.com.
Yeah, I can read that.
Oh, fair enough.
I can read a lot of stuff, but it's just... Say if it was across that wall and if there was a billboard or something like that. You know when you're going on a motorway and you see them... Yeah, if it's quite a thing that far, then I can't see it.
Yeah, well, I guess that's everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, but apparently when you get your eyes done, you're supposed to see more than what a normal person can see.
Really?
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. So it's like 20/20 division. You know, like normally people, they see 10. You see 20. That's how it's supposed to be. But I think because I paid half price, I got a half price job.
Yeah, you got a half price job.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
That's so funny. I was just joking when I said, did you go to Turkey?
Yeah, subhanAllah, man.
You know when you go to Turkey, bro, in the airport, all you see is Mandem with the headlines on their head.
The lions?
Yeah, because they had a hair transplant.
Oh, you're talking about Istanbul?
Istanbul, that's in Turkey.
Yeah, but I never went to Istanbul.
Where did you go?
I went to Ankara. That's the...
Is that known for the eyes? Is that the eye spot?
What's the capital of Turkey?
Well, now I know that it's not Istanbul because of the way you said it. I would have said Istanbul though.
That's what everyone says anyway. That's what everyone thinks. It's Ankara.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ankara is the capital. That's literally in the middle of Turkey. But usually people think it's Istanbul because that's where everyone goes and that's where all the mosque and this and that. I went to Istanbul maybe for 6 hours. That's about it.
Where were you born? Where are you from?
Me, I'm from...
You're born in...
See, this is
London,
the conversation
right?
that I have with everyone. And people, even though I tell you, you're not going to know. So,
Okay.
do you know a place? This is the closest place. If you don't know this place, you're not going to know where I'm from.
Explain probably because we have some Turkish listeners, surely.
All right. So, do you know a place called Trabzon?
No, I'm
Okay.
sure somebody does. Somebody listening
So, it's
knows
close
that
to there.
place.
It's a place called Gümüşhane. So, Gümüşhane is like, I think
Gümüşhane.
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 Yeah. So, that's a place near, I think it's, what's that country? It just slipped my mind. It's not a big deal anyway. So basically it's like the north of Turkey. So it's like north east, I think. So it's like north east.
Is it the Asian part or the European part?
It's the Asian part.
I see.
Istanbul is the only European part.
Oh, really?
It's half of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, half of it is. So you can literally get a boat and go across.
Yeah, I know. I remember because I went in February to Istanbul.
Did you go both sides?
No,
Yeah?
I just went to the Europe side.
That's the only place you can do that, you know.
Where you can cross the border.
You cross from Europe to Asia.
You got to pay money for a boat.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's dirt cheap though, man.
How much is it?
I don't know.
I think my mom did it actually. My mom went recently. I think she did it for like 30 quid. So,
It's
yeah.
like Turkish
We
money.
have so much now.
Yeah.
Istanbul's a really nice place where you can get a lot done, especially as a tourist.
Where did you go?
Oh man, we went to the Grand Bazaar. We went to the Spice Bazaar. We went to the Nusra restaurant.
Yeah.
We
How was
went
that?
to- really nice.
Yeah.
We went to the Suleiman Mosque. We went to
Yeah.
the Blue Mosque. Went to Hafiz Mustafa.
Uh-huh.
We packed it out, man. We went for
That's quite good.
Well, I don't like going on holidays for longer than 4 or 5 days.
Is that how long you
Yeah,
spent?
that's me done, bro. I can't do a week or 10 days. No way. Okay, I remember when I was little, my dad used to go on holiday, and it was always 10 days. Not holiday, but when he would go for business or whatever he would go for. The point is, when he went on away out of the country, it would be 10 days that he'd go for, and so that's like the staple in my head of like how long you should go away for is 10 days.
10 days, yeah.
Can't do it, bro. 10 days like
10 days is a lot.
bro, it's too much, bro. You know, in later on this year, I might be going away, inshallah, to get for some work, and I might have to go for a month.
For a whole month.
Like, I've not done
Are you
that
are you allowed to tell the audience where you're going?
Right now, it's nothing's confirmed, so I don't want to run like what's the saying, like run before you can walk, or
Yeah.
but if I'm going away, inshallah,
Is it Dubai? I don't know. I actually don't know anything.
I'm not gonna say it.
But I'm just assuming from the places that you always go, you like. I know you like Dubai, so maybe
ممكن
ممكن.
أخي. You know,
Yeah.
I was speaking to a brother and I said to him, one of the brothers in Iman, he'd gone away to Egypt and he studied in Arabic as well. And I kept, every time he was saying something, when I was telling him maybe, I was saying mumkin.
Yeah.
Because that's what we always like,
Yeah.
used to say to each other, innit? And he said that the proper word for maybe is rubbama.
ربما.
Yeah.
Ah, Ustad said that a
Mumkin's
lot.
more like possible.
Yeah, Ustad Yahya said that. He says that a lot in class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas
alhamdulillah.
mumkin is possible. But I've got in the habit of saying mumkin because, like, you know, Farouk, Iman Channel.
Farouk, maybe if I see
The
him.
white
If
brother.
I see him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely know.
Okay, he says mumkin all the time.
Okay.
Mumkin Sheikh. Yeah. Sheikh, I was talking to some brother Sheikh and they said to me, you know, Akhi, Farouk, do you are you coming down to these ends anytime soon? And I said mumkin. He's so funny. I love
No,
Farouk.
man, he's just funny, man. He
He's
speaks
different level.
whatever he says, isn't it? Like
So
if
it's a
wherever comes across his mind, he just says.
He's so funny.
Yeah,
man.
he's funny, man.
But do you know what? Is very rare in this day now to find someone that funny and eccentric and extroverted because and when I say now I mean because when we're younger a lot of people are like that because it's youth innit?
Yeah.
In your youth akhi, everyone's excited and it's very like whoa, but you lose that as you get older because of all the stresses that life brings.
Yeah.
And Farouk's one of the brothers that's managed to maintain the fun side.
Yeah.
And he's very serious, bro. When I spent in Ramadan, I spent more time with Farouk than I probably did with anyone because of how much we were working together, hosting the show. And he's very serious. He has chats that are serious. And he takes his life seriously.
Yeah.
But he's very light-hearted generally when we discuss it. And you know, when you're around someone, you pick up their habits.
Yeah.
Actually, that's me. I'm a sponge, bro. When I went Cardiff for years, I came back from Cardiff. Actually, I had a Welsh accent.
Wow.
Actually, I'll be in even now. The one thing I still have like a Welsh twinge in is when I say it's really weird, but it's like when I ask someone if I can like have the bill or pay by card.
So what did you say?
Like, so let's say if I was in Zara today and I'd buy something here, and I said, "Can I pay by card, please?" But it's not a Welsh accent, but like the rhythm in which Welsh people speak, they like is like that. Like, can I pay by card? Like that. Like up and down, innit, akhi? And that's one thing I don't know why because I suppose I don't know why, but that's one thing I latched onto. Again, it's not a Welsh accent, but it's just like their tone.
Tone of voice, yeah. No, I know a brother like that as well.
Can I pay by card, please?
Like he literally, I don't know where he went. I think he went Surrey. He didn't even go that far, yeah. But he went for like 3 years. Obviously uni. I think he went for uni or something like that. He went for 3 years and he turned back a different person. His accent, everything changed.
But that's me. I'm a sponge, bro.
Wow.
I just got so when I was around Farouk, bro, I'm the type of guy here. And it's funny because my friend Kay, he has a joke about it. He's a stand-up comedian. He has a joke about this, and he says that when you, he goes, it's so funny. It's such a funny joke, bro. He goes, it's so funny when your accent changes around different people, innit?
Yeah.
So he says when the boiler man comes around, or like the gas engineer or whatever,
Right.
he's like, "Yo, mate, yeah, coming." And bro, that's me, bro. Like when the boiler, recently I've had proper boiler issues at my house, but when the boiler man comes around, I'm like, "You want coffee, mate?" Yeah. Oh yeah, man, I'll tell you what I said.
Do you know what I find the worst one? You know when someone doesn't like, say for example, the English isn't that great.
That's me. My English
me.
becomes broken.
It becomes broken all of a sudden, isn't it?
My English becomes so broken. I'm like,
I feel like I'm being rude.
bro, I'm like, if so, like, I'm like, do you like?
You even miss out some words.
I miss words.
Yeah, you miss words out on
said,
purpose.
I'm like, do you have toilet?
Yeah, and you start doing that stuff, innit?
But I know English. I don't know why I'm like, I know what I'm gonna say.
I'm exactly like that.
Ajib, man. Very ajib.
Man. But do you know what? It's a good thing though to
Well,
be,
it's-
because you're trying to make it easy for the minute. Do you know what I mean? So, but it doesn't really help them, to be honest with you, because you know what? Some of them,
doesn't
they're
help.
genuinely actually trying to learn English.
No, of course.
Yeah. So when you're missing out stuff like that, you're actually teaching them the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the way that they think it anyway. But yeah,
It's very interesting, isn't it? How like humans are like chameleons in that way. Like we adapt to our surroundings, we all adapt to our nature, with regards to language, with regards to.
But that's one of the traits of the Prophet ﷺ as well. Like he was a man who could relate to everyone. Do you know what I mean? So like you and I know people who are like that. SubhanAllah, that they literally relate to literally anyone that they come across, and whoever they come across, they take them with the right. They give them the salams with their right hand, and then they take their hearts with their left hand, right? So it's being that kind of a person is like really important, because you just relate, and when you relate to someone, you're able to literally, if you want to teach someone, you have to relate to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a person that comes to my mind instantly is Abdul Hakim Sunnah Remedies.
Yeah.
And the way he behaves is amazing in that he relates to you instantly, but it doesn't feel like he's faking it. Like he's not putting on a person. It's not like when he's around the boys, he's like, but because he does have different layers to him in that he goes and plays sports with the boys, plays football with the boys, so he does have that culture within him of being around the boys and just chilling and enjoying himself. But then I think he's a student of Quran, and so he has also that layer of him where he knows how to behave like a student. He's been around Mashayikh before, so he knows how to behave around a Mashayikh. So because of that, you see that once or twice I've been around him. Most of the time when I'm with him with the environment that, like, you know, it's a bunch of lads. But I've seen him around the shuyukh. He's speaking in Arabic and he changes his, but he never changes his character.
Yeah.
But he just changes the way he approaches situations, and I think it's beautiful, very beautiful.
It's an important thing that you just said, that he's a student of the Quran. So I would say that the Quran makes you like that. Do you know what I mean? Because you learn from, if you're learning the Quran, you're learning from people who know the Quran, and the people of Quran are like the best of people, right? So learning from those people, obviously you're going to come out a better person.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? So like you mentioned, that he's one way with another person and he's one way with another person. You're not going to be the same with your teacher the way that you're going to be with the lads.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have to give some sort of respect. Like, you don't act like you do with your parents the way that you do with the lads. Do you know what I mean? You're a bit more jokey with the lads and whatnot, and you have to have some barriers when it comes to your teachers. So yeah, subhanallah, the Quran changes everything, man.
I only came to a realization of that fact recently, in that the teachers always tell you to, or you are told that you need to behave in different ways to your teachers. But to internalize it is very difficult. And I only recently was able to internalize the fact that your teachers are your teachers. And I was explaining this to someone the other day. I was saying that it's very hard to categorize your relationship with a teacher. And the reason I find it so hard to categorize is because in our life generally, especially coming from a background where I wasn't always passionate about my faith, you have different types of relationships in your life. So you have, for example, the three main relationships outside of your personal marital relationship stuff. The three main relationships are friends, and then business, and then family, right? And when I say business, like anything, your work colleagues or the people who you're on that level with, like acquaintances, the business partners, colleagues, people you see at work. And then there's friends who you're really open with and you have a laugh with. And then there's family who they're at the top of the tier, right? Where they're like who you know the most, and you're the most open probably with your family. So they're the levels, and they're in that order as well. Family's at top, friends are underneath family, and then underneath friends is like work colleagues. So when you start having a teacher, it's a fourth type of relationship that's hard for your brain to categorize.
Yes, subhanAllah.
And so what I did is, having lived 22 years of my life never having a teacher, not even having really gone to a madrasa, I didn't know where to categorize it. So I only understood three types of relationships that you can have. And I think this is the issue that a lot of people go into when they first start doing like even a basic level of studying, is you don't know how to categorize your relationship with your Islamic teacher or your Quran teacher. And so I kind of categorized it like between work colleagues and friends, in between that category, because I know they're more important than a work colleague, and they take more precedent than a work colleague type relationship, but I'm not on a level with a teacher where I'm like friends with them, or like where like the type of relationship that you have, where you can have banter with your friends and stuff, but it's closer to a friend than a work colleague. That's kind of where I by default categorized it, but I didn't feel comfortable there. But I didn't understand how to categorize it. And only recently I've realized that a teacher is actually not in between work colleagues and friends, but it's actually in between friends and family. And what it is that even though you have more of a relationship with your friends than you have with your teacher, your teacher takes precedent over your friends because your relationship with your teacher is based upon the Quran. And but your parents, nothing can come close to your parents, right? So that's why it's almost like a parent level, right? But it's definitely about friends. And that doesn't mean to say that your friends are not important, but it means to say that you don't treat your teacher how you treat your friend. You don't go out with them. You don't invite them to places where you'd invite your boys, which is what I was doing before. I would invite my teachers to the same place that I invite my friends, but it was awkward a bit.
Yeah.
But then I realized that it's okay not to invite them to the same things you invite your friends to, because the point is that you're meant to have a different relationship with them, where you can actually speak to your teachers about your friends and say, I'm having an issue with this, but you can't speak to your friends about your teachers. You can't be like, oh, my teacher's a bit, it's not that. So I finally figured out where to categorize it after 2 years. You know what I mean? But that's the process. You have to go through it, right?
Yeah, these things are things that we don't really necessarily learn, especially when it comes to they say to you anyway that I know that people like ulama and stuff like that, they've said that they've learned manners before they actually learn ilm. So in manners is how you're with whether it's with your parents, whether it's with just anyone in general, whether it's your teacher, whether it's your friends, whether it's your siblings, whatever it is. So they learn manners, but you don't learn that when you're in secular studies. They don't teach you that from when you're young. Do you know what I'm saying? So you haven't had that in the first place. So that's why this society is actually going wrong, where they're not teaching people how to be people. They're not teaching them how to be human beings, but rather they're just putting them into this sphere of maths, science, this, that, and the other. But they don't even have any manners. They don't even respect the knowledge. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it could be anything. So when they go into these lessons or wherever it is, they don't have the right attitude. And I'm like that as well, akhi, man. Even though I'm saying this, I feel like there's a lot that I need to improve when it comes to whatever studies it is. Of course, Islamic studies take precedence over any other studies, but this is something that we need to have, and I feel like we've been deprived from it. And I feel like it's coming in slowly. That the people are there's centers that are starting to add manners and so on and so forth, like the condition of the heart and so on and so forth. And I feel like this step would take us a lot more further, and in our understanding as well, like you just mentioned that you just recently started to learn it. Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Even when you mention what we get taught in the schools, one common thing that people often say is that in schools they don't teach you basic life skills, and even though it sounds so cliche, I completely agree with it. And it's, as you grow older, you do think I would love to have learned this. I do understand there is an extreme to it though. People are like, I don't use algebra in my... Sorry, I thought someone came to the studio. People are like, I don't use maths in my life. Why did I get taught maths? But you do. I use maths on a daily basis. Yeah. But even the other day in our meeting about the Fresh Uganda, remember I was trying to do my mental maths. But so I don't think that we shouldn't be taught those things. I think history is important, maths is important, English is important, even science to an extent is important. It is important to understand oxygen and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
However, we had once a week, and this was only in the latter years as well. We once a week we'd have a lesson called life skills for 20 minutes.
What was that?
Bro, and first of all, it wasn't even essential in most schools. So most schools probably didn't have it, but it didn't teach us anything that should have been a 1 hour lesson, and it should have been a couple times a week or something, like science, English, maths. Because all we learned in it was, I remember one specific lesson, and they were teaching us about how back in the day, cigarettes used to be something that were advertised as a good thing. So cigarette adverts used to be doctors. There used to be doctors on it explaining the health benefits of smoking cigarettes.
Really?
Yeah. That used to be cigarette adverts.
Wow.
But my point is, and that was interesting. We all we were watching these adverts. But
I don't remember that.
But no, it wasn't when we were alive.
Oh.
Because our parents, when they were kids.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's this cigarette brand called Camel or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But my point is, bro, is that. That's what they showed us, and as interesting as that is, that doesn't benefit me.
Wow.
Whereas in life skills, I would have liked to have understood example, how does a person get paid? I don't understand that as a teen. Like, when a person gets a job, how do they get paid? And there's like, to understand that, you, for the most part, obviously it's different, but even to learn the different aspects, like to understand that most people probably get employed, or all of you guys who are in this class, most likely at some point in your life you will be employed, right? Like, you might have retail jobs in uni or something, but even if you do go on to have your own business, you might be employed, and even you might even be employed by your own business. So like, what happens generally is, you fill out the forms, the necessary stuff, and then you get paid. The different companies have different ways of paying and different times of paying, but these are but the government takes deductions, and so
these are things I still don't know.
Actually, but it's so important because when you get a pay slip every month and you see all the deductions. Actually, I had to just figure it out for myself the first time I got a pay slip. Like, why is the government taking this? What's national insurance? Why am I getting like this? Why is it this much is coming out for my student loan? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Actually, but we should get taught like a basic level, so a person doesn't go in blind. That's one thing that I think that we didn't get taught, like that, and like the whole like issue of like tax and just understanding VAT. Actually, the word VAT is thrown around everywhere. What is it? Because these things you do use on a daily basis. Like, you go on any website now, and if it's a shop, it will ask you most likely, like, do you want to shop with or like, including or excluding VAT? You have to understand why it's asking you that. Invoicing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and again, maybe that's more business studies, invoicing, but
still, generally, you don't need to study
like,
business.
There could just be one lesson on like payments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like, sometimes, like, you might get older and you might decide to be a contractor and be like a plumber or a service, and most of the time you have to invoice a company, and this is what an invoice is like, and this is what information is being on an invoice. Actually, like these kind of things, or even on a more basic level, like because you're teenagers, maybe understanding overdrafts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, bro? These are life skills that people need to learn. Understanding, like, another common one that comes up so often, bro, is, when you have your own home, you need to understand the basics of how your utilities work, like the basics of a boiler. Not be a boiler repair or gas engineer.
I think that might be going a bit too far though. Like, as in, I feel like that's just something that you like become an expert in. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's like a different field.
No, I'm talking about the basics. Like, all right, bro.
Not everyone needs to know about a boiler.
No, I'll explain how to do. The other day I went to my house, turned the light on, light fuse, poof, everything's gone off.
Yeah, you call the guy, innit?
No, you don't call the guy. The switch is tripped. You just got to redo the switch. You got the main switch, the switchboard in your house.
Oh, you're talking about the one that the thing. Okay, but everyone knows that, innit?
But how?
I think that's the basics, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's when
you get taught by your parents. No?
Yeah, maybe there's an element that you need to get taught by parents things.
That was the first thing that we'll go to. If all the lights went off, that's the first thing you go to, right?
Yeah, that's what I went to, and I fixed it. But that's just because it's happened before in the past. So I know to do that. I do think that, fine, you're right. There could be there could be ways you're being pedantic, but generally, some skills.
No, definitely, 100%. Especially
not the original cigarettes.
Especially the things that you mentioned, like, for example, when it comes to VAT and all that kind of stuff, like how to like, all the payments and everything. That stuff is really important because it's day to day.
Of course. Literally
day to day, and I have no idea. I'm in a job. I've been in a job for maybe like a professional, like, proper job for like 2 years now, and I still don't know the ins and like, I'm still confused with certain stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's right what you're saying, man. SubhanAllah, man. But I feel like what it does, education, so this is the thing. I think you touched on this before. Is what it taught me most is my own development. Do you remember when you spoke about this? I think you did it in your last podcast, to be honest with you.
Yeah, when I spoke about university, I think.
So in university, me as well, because I finished university now, alhamdulillah, like 2 years ago. And what I found for myself was that I was able to develop myself. Even though I got into the job that my degree was based on, and it helped me because you needed a degree to get into it. So for me, it was something beneficial, and I know that you have like difference of opinion on whether uni is important. Actually, we might even be able to have that discussion.
There's ikhtilaf on the matter.
But for me, it's ikhtilaf as well, innit? Yeah. So I believe if it's important, if you know where you're going, and if it's something that you need for your job, then you should go for it.
Agreed.
It's not for everyone. There's other things like apprenticeships for the brothers and sisters out there who want to take that path. And even from there, you can go to uni. If you need to go uni, you can change your mind. And at the same time, you're getting paid for apprenticeship as well. And there's a lot of good companies that you can actually work for. But even that depends on maybe the field that you're in, the industry that you're in, whatever it is. But it really depends. But for me, anyway, what it did was it changed me as a person, man. My first year I went in, I'm not gonna lie, I slacked. Like, I slacked because basically what happened is when I finished secondary school, I went to this college for like 6 months. I did business, and then I dropped out. It just I wasn't at the time. There's this as well. I wasn't at the point of my life where I knew what to do. Like, my brother's going through this right now. He's in the step where he has to basically go to college now. Yeah, I wasn't at a point in my life, and they might have, like, you might have siblings or whatever it is. They might be at the point of their life where they don't know what they want to do. Like, I had no clue. Like, I was just going to college just for the sake of going to college. Everyone was doing business, so I wanted to do business. Do you know what I mean? And it was like the closest college to my house. Do you know what I mean? So, like, all my friends are going there. Why not? So 6 months down the line, there was no motivation left. The only reason why I was still going to college, but I was only going to meet my friends. Do you know what I mean? So I was in a different point of my life. So I think a lot of people are going through that, and I feel like a lot of pressure is put on kids around that age anyway. And I think it's really important to just, like, sometimes just let them learn. So I took about near enough 3 years gap, and then I decided to go back into college. So the way that I did that was I found the passion in the end. Obviously, I was working with my dad. So I was working, like most Turkish people know, you're working at dad's coffee shop. So you're working at dad's coffee shop, and then in the end, I was just like, nah, this ain't me, bro. This is not me.
Dad's coffee shop?
Yeah, well, he sold it now, but he used to have one, and it was a really popular one. And subhanAllah, it was too much for me, man. I just couldn't see myself working in that environment. Like, obviously for some people it's not something like to look downgraded or anything like that, but for some people that's their thing, innit? They can work in a calf, that's their passion. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got a different passion, but my one was I need to sit in an office. Do you know what I mean?
That's odd, because some people are like, I want to get out of the office life.
Yeah. So I know people that want to work on cars and everything. Like, they want to actually be hands on, and I'm not that guy. I'm the total opposite. I want to sit down, have my cup of coffee, and sit on the desk. Yeah. So it took me 3 years to even after finishing secondary school to even understand what path I want to take. Even then, though, you don't know what you're getting into. Do you know what I mean? But now you've got some sort of motivation. Do you know what I mean? So you're kind of looking at life. You're looking at different options. And I've worked in different places. I've worked in garages. I worked in MOT stations. I worked in a barber. I worked. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I worked in like different places. Yeah. So I worked in a cafe as well. And
Turkish barber.
Yeah, it's Turkish barber. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. You know, people that work in barbers, yeah, they got some legs, man.
Really?
Like, as in, you know, standing for like 11, 12 hours.
Yeah, I never considered that, actually.
I couldn't stand it, man.
So was you cutting hair?
No, I was kind of like, what they call, I don't know how to say it in Turkish, but it's like a apprentice kind of thing.
Okay, like a runner.
Yeah, you're just kind of sweeping up in that.
Oh,
so,
in our language, you call it a drywalla.
Oh, is it? We call it churak.
Drywalla is like the guy who gets the tea.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
Yeah.
So I used to do all that stuff. There was like 1 or 2 times that I did
bro.
cut. So
It's beautiful. Huh?
not the hair.
You cut
But
someone.
actually, I did. One of my friends, I used to cut his hair.
Really?
I probably did such a bad job. I used to do it in his house. Yeah,
Oh
I must have
my
done
gosh.
such a bad job, man. SubhanAllah. And he was miskin, man.
Subhanallah.
He didn't say anything.
I would never
But-
trust
but-
you with my hair, man. He's mad.
Yeah, subhanallah, man.
With your thick glasses, them
I
down
used
as
to,
well.
I used to give him a fade.
Bro.
Yeah,
more like a
subhanallah,
step.
man. Yeah, but yeah, I did that. So yeah, and then basically after 3 years of figuring out what to do, I finally decided to go into the automotive industry. So I went to college. I did my 3 years in college again. I went back to square one, and it's never too late. So if you're a person who's going in their life and they've already chose a path, say for example they've gone into a job and they didn't like the job or whatever the case may be, you can always turn back. Like, trust me, there's a way out. Do you know what I mean? Like you will be like behind. If you can't look at yourself as behind, because everyone has their own time, innit? Do you know what I mean? Maybe you might be looking at your friends, and your friends are maybe 2-3 years ahead of you, but not really, because they're in their own time. Do you get what I mean? Everyone has their time and their place, and you never know where you're gonna be. You might be 3 years behind, but then you look in the future, you're 10 steps ahead of them because you took that 3 years gap, but they never. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because people rush in, subhanAllah. What happens is they go through uni as well, and then they're like, what? Do you know what I mean?
Like, what do I do now?
Like, what do I do?
Yeah. So your interest was in cars,
Yeah, it was in
but
cars.
you wanted to be in an office.
Yeah.
So that's how then you became wait for it. No. An engine, like a computer engineer for cars.
Kind of something like
Basically,
design engineer.
design engineer. You
Yeah.
design cars,
Yeah.
but the complicated bits of them.
Yeah, it's to be honest, once you learn it, it's not that complicated. The only complicated part is packaging it all together,
Yeah.
and that's basically you have to talk to everyone. Like,
But how much say do you have in? How much say do you have in the final car? Have you ever like designed something and then now
from start to finish?
from now hundreds of thousands of people are driving it?
Not from start to finish.
Okay.
The current car that I'm working on,
you allowed to say?
I can say the model, yeah, but
Okay.
I can't really tell you what car it is and stuff. So like it's 2021 cars that we're working on. So we work. I work with as they are clients. So Jaguar Land Rover. So we work with them. So we're basically building the harnesses for the car. So yeah, they'll be out in 2021.
What's a
But
harness?
a harness is, all the wiring that goes into your car.
Yeah.
Everything that connects. So like, for example, you got your windows that go up and down.
Yeah.
It needs to connect to somewhere, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So this would.
Fine.
So all of that stuff. So packaging it inside the vehicle, and you basically route it around the vehicle, and you can imagine how much wires are
Wow.
in one car. But
So do you know a fair bit about cars in terms of repair? Like if you broke down, you could repair your own car.
I did study that in college.
Okay.
Can I do it? Maybe a bit of a bud job, but I'll be able to do it. I did my car and my dad's car a couple of times, and it wasn't really that great, but I still managed to do it. Yeah, there's YouTube,
Yeah.
YouTube has a lot of stuff.
The only thing I did recently to I'm awful with cars. The only thing I did recently with cars is I did a T-cut.
A what? A T-car? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Someone keyed my car hard.
Subhanallah,
Yeah, I got keyed differently, bruv.
That's the worst, man.
I got 2 fat X's on the back of my car. Fat.
That was on
X's,
purpose,
bruv.
obviously, innit?
Yeah.
That like,
Okay.
why would they do that? Subhanallah,
I think
man.
I know. I think I know what had happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that how much you're saying?
Now, I'll give you a vague. I basically, it's my fault.
Yeah.
I think I parked somewhere where I shouldn't have parked,
Uh,
and I think that
someone got an eye.
rightfully so, someone got angry.
Mm.
I think that the way they got angry was a bit questionable.
Yeah.
But I was in the wrong first. And alhamdulillah, I'm not into my cars like that. So I saw it and I was like, I knew I was in the wrong.
Yeah.
Although I would not have reacted like that. I do think that that was a bit much. But
That was too much,
alhamdulillah,
yeah.
if I caused issue to someone's day, and that's not nice. And that's actually one of the worst things you can do. So alhamdulillah, so I put the T-cart on my car, and it kind of helped. Like you can still see fat X's on the back of my car, but they're like grey because my car's black.
Yeah.
So they're not like white anymore. But that's the most actually I do. Or like I've pushed out a couple dents here and there.
Yeah, I'm not too good with dents or anything. I've done service.
Oh, you've done a service?
Yeah, I've done a
Okay.
service.
No,
yeah.
no, I couldn't do
so
that.
yeah, I've had problems with it sometimes.
You know what else it is though, boys? When you get married as well,
Mhm.
you realise how much you need to be able to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because ego comes in and you think, I don't want another man fixing my wife's car or
Yeah, yeah.
and it's ego, but little things like I've learned so much since being married in terms of just like life things, like fixing things here. Like I was never into DIY, bro. But when my wife needs something fixed, Akhi, best know my toolkit's coming out. I'm getting it done because it's just something that is in you. Like that's like your family, and they need your help. And you either pick up, you take it somewhere, and you get it fixed, or
Bro,
you do it yourself.
you know, all of this that you're telling
Yeah.
me is gonna go against me.
Yeah, okay. Bro, I got some. You go into my if you go into my cupboard in my room now, yeah, I've got the fatty's toolbox, and I built them up over the years of my marriage, because there's little things I needed here and there, I just add to them. So I had to build this chest of drawers the other day. Okay,
How long did it take?
I'm a busy man, bro.
Yeah.
But okay, I spent 4 hours that day doing it. I didn't care I was doing it.
Did you go through the
I wasn't letting
instructions?
no one else do it. I did it. Yeah, but my point is that I had to do it. In my house, my family, I'm doing my chest of drawers.
Yeah.
And you can see how, like, you know, growing up, you see my granddad. My granddad would just do like things here and there that never need to be done. Like, for example, on most of the doors in his house, he installed locks on the outside.
Yeah.
On the outside, I think.
Mhm.
So I'm in the bathroom. There's a lock on the outside. So the person outside can lock me in. Makes no sense. That's why. And I used to think to myself, my granddad, why does he do these things? He does these little things around the house. And I realized now that as a man, you want. I think as a man, you always want to be respected by your family and stuff. You want to be seen as a man.
Yeah.
I think that's natural enough. And I think as you get older, you lose a sense of being needed. You're old man now, like people, your children are independent. No one needs you, so you want to feel like you have purpose. You want to feel like you're making an impact difference. So it's man's installing locks in the yard. But best know that I imagine that when I'm older, I'm an old granddad. That's gonna be me. I'm gonna be like bringing my kids. Can I come around like look, you need to get that changed. Fix it, because I think you want that sense of purpose. You want to feel respected. You want to feel like you are worth something. You have. I think that's natural in a man. I think obviously with anything, there's parts of those attributes in a person that are dangerous. Like, you can go too far with anything. Like, you can have an ego and it can be negative. But also we don't want to be hypersensitive and say, oh, if you have that trait, that means that you have kibble. You know what I mean? A man is prideful. You know what I mean? And so we have those traits as men to want to do those things. And I see that now as I'm getting maturer in life, I've seen myself develop like that. Like,
what do you think has helped you with that? Like, has it been because let's say, for example, your wife's kind of influenced you into that, or
my wife's never influenced me into it, but I know that
like, even if it's not said, like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, some things don't have to be said. Do you get my point?
I think it's just a sense of responsibility on myself to know that I'm responsible here.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I should. This is a job for me. I need to fix it. So little things like when I first moved into the flat, we had spotlights, and I've not dealt with spotlights before, so I don't even know how to change. So one of the spotlights died. I don't know how to change the spotlight, but so I remember I rang my uncle. My uncle is a bit of a handyman. I just said to him how to change it. He showed me how to do it. So now I can change. You know what I mean? But spotlight is a bit different because different spotlights have different ways, because they look really cool in the sense that they're in the ceiling, so it looks like it's not a simple light bulb to change. But you just got kind of pinch this metal thing out and then screw it and then replace that.
Cars are like that as well. With the things. The headlights.
Really? Because I've not done that.
The headlights are a bit funny. Sometimes I get a bit baffled with them.
I see, because I know that car headlights are quite simple to replace.
Not really.
Really?
As in, it is if you know how to do it.
Yeah, because when I got my headlights done,
sometimes they're in awkward positions as well. Sometimes you have to take out the actual whole headlamp.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember I got my headlights done. I think I went to Halfords or something, and it was like a very simple job. I think it was my daylights. But that's another thing actually. Like, you know, when you're around your family, when you're not around your family, and like I remember once I go on Halfords and I had to get something done on my car, and I'm watching attentively how this thing is done, to know that if something like little things like putting in coolant and like this and the other, like, because then once you learn it once, you're all right. So then when the issue arises, like your missus has run out of coolant in her car or something, you know what you're doing, bro. It comes down to that pride thing, I think. Like, a man just wanting to kind of know the basics.
I actually think that's an amazing skill, though, man. Because now that you've learned that, it takes you less time to do it. Yeah, so you're doing things, you're productive. Do you know what I'm saying? And you don't have to dish out money. There's that as well.
Well, it's true. Yeah, it's true. I've always been obsessed as a child with the idea of like survival.
Now you're in it.
No, like I mean like literally, like you know, like the
What?
idea of like what Bear Grylls does and stuff like that. I'm not into it anymore.
Yeah.
But I used to be like, no, I never used to watch Bear Grylls specifically, but
Mhm.
the idea of that kind of thing of like
Being in the
knowing that
forest.
you're somewhere and you need to survive, and you got a little like.
I can't imagine you in that position.
Nah, I never. I used to buy these. I used to love buying them multi tools.
Okay.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
useless. Actually. They don't
No?
do anything. Oh, they're rubbish. But the point is, I used to buy them because it has like a knife on one side and a screwdriver on. Like,
Yeah.
I used to carry it around with me as a teenager.
Yeah.
Not to it wasn't the type of knife where you could do any damage with it, but it was like a little like a nail file
Little
kind of thing.
phasal.
Like I used to carry around with it. No, just so I could like if something happens, I can fix it. Right?
Yeah.
Pointless. I remember like I used to like buying torches, like
Wow.
in case something happens and I got like.
Wow.
It's weird, okay, yeah.
Wow.
I've always been weirdly into that.
Nah, do you know
as a kid.
is your character, man? You're very erratic with your decisions.
Yeah, very erratic my decisions. Very erratic.
Subhanallah, man.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
we it's funny because I mentioned to you even because I know this isn't natural to you, like being in front of the, you don't enjoy being in front of the camera.
Nah, I hate it, man.
And so first of all, I'm grateful for you for even like doing the episode, but I did mention that it was going to be like just a conversation.
Yeah,
Have you found that?
I'm just trying to look at your face and not to the
And
camera.
not think about the camera, yeah, but you can see in your peripheral. But the point of it, kind of this episode, was obviously to talk a bit about the event that we've got coming up. So for those listening, or I would have probably mentioned the intro by now, but like, so you managed the last event that we did, Freshly Grounded, and did an amazing job at it. In terms of you managed it in terms of like a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff and management of like the structure of the day and arranging everything for the day and a lot of like the admin and stuff like that. So basically you were the guy behind the scenes, like pulling the strings together alongside Abdul Samad, who helped as well with this stuff on the day. He was amazing inside the theatre. But in terms of like around the day and like everything outside of the theatre, because you don't realise when you put in an event how much has to be done that's not happening inside the theatre. Like registration and everyone getting their wristbands and on the breaks the staff need to be here backstage, blah, blah, blah. And so you basically were like the backbone of the event, and so this time inshallah you've been doing the same thing, and alongside Kareem you're working on kind of managing this event as well. So you're kind of like the Freshly Grounded, you're on the event management team and you kind of take care of a lot of the hospitality stuff. How was that? First of all, like, because the Freshly Grounded episode 100, alhamdulillah, was a huge success. I think on like loads of different angles. In terms of like how it went down in terms of in front of the audience, and like all the audience members had such good feedback, alhamdulillah. Yeah. And in terms of the staff, the volunteers had amazing feedback, and just generally things seemed to work, alhamdulillah, like clockwork for the most part. And I think a lot of that is down to you. For example, like the things that you set in place. How was it? Because you had never done an event before, and you just got thrown in the deep end. And I remember asking you to do it, and you said to me, "Bro, I'm here, but I've never done an event. And I think that you're overestimating or kind of what it is that I can do." And alhamdulillah, I think that my erratic decision at that point was correct, was right, because I saw. I knew you hadn't done events, but one thing one of the lessons that has changed me, right, as a person, is when I used to work in retail for the largest tech company in the world.
Apple.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to say who I work for.
Oh,
everybody knows. Well, it doesn't matter because it's all over my LinkedIn and stuff as well. So I don't understand it at all. But contract's contract, isn't it? One of the things they taught us, one of the things we learned is that they don't hire people who are good with their tech, or people who even know their devices, because they can teach that. They can teach you how to use their device. Yeah. They just hire people who have great personality, because you can't teach great personality generally. And so when I learned that inspired me so much. And so even with you, I knew the personality traits of you. I knew your skill set. I'd known you for a while by then, and I knew that even though you didn't understand anything about events, or you hadn't done events before, which by the way, nor had I. That was my first event, that was your first event, really, like a proper one. And this is going to be our second event together. Did you surprise yourself with how much you could pull off?
Firstly, I will say Barakallah feek, akhi. You praised me more than enough that you need to, because it was not necessarily down to me. I feel like you helped me a lot on the way. You laid out a lot of things for me, akhi. You, like, the things that you do behind the scenes is nowhere. Like, I know, but it's nowhere in comparison. That people, you know, the Freshly Grounded audience, they don't see. Forget half, 3/4 of what the work that you put in, subhanallah, to make things happen, and the sacrifice that goes into Freshly Grounded. And this is why, subhanallah, Freshly Grounded is probably blossoming, alhamdulillah, and we really need to support such a podcast in what they do, subhanallah. It gives me goosebumps, akhi, to see the things that happen at Freshly Grounded, and if they was to see what's actually going on behind the scenes, they would really appreciate a lot more, I would think. First of all, I would like to thank, you know, the volunteers, akhi. If it was not for the volunteers, they know exactly who they are. Yeah, those volunteers, I couldn't have asked for a better team.
Akhi, it was the dream team. I
It
remember
was the
saying,
dream team.
amazing, bro.
It was the dream team. But subhanallah, the thing that I do remember, akhi, yeah, and this is why I think that day when, of course, there's things that we can fix and there's things that we can improve on and so on and so forth. But there was a vibe that day that you couldn't get on the camera. When you watched it if you watched it on YouTube or wherever you watched it or listened to it, you would not have got the same vibe unless you was in that theater. Unless you was there, you're not getting that same vibe, because what happened on that day, I can't even explain it with words. I can't explain the feeling that I got. And what I feel like it comes down to is, I remember around that period, I was hearing a lot of like lectures in terms of like and just things happening in my life personally about intentions, about how your intention can change a lot of things. A lot of things. The same action that you do, when you do it with intention, it can change the whole scene. It can make you feel something as well. Not just like your intentions change and that's it. You actually see the benefits. Like, you feel it physically. You actually feel it. And you see it in your surroundings, subhanallah. So I remember that day, before even going to the event, while I was driving, just really knuckling down on my intentions so much, akhi. I remember doing that. And I remember going to, when we went to the theatre and all the volunteers came by, I was just reminding them, because that part really hit me, the intentions part really hit me, on how it actually works. And if people implement it in their lives, they will see a lot of change. I basically said to the people there, the volunteers there, that we need to basically stop, fix our intentions. So we're doing it for the right reasons. We're doing it. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with this. That this, inshallah, is going to be something, it's going to be massive, and it's going to provide Muslims with a platform like no other. Do you know what I'm saying? Inshallah, this is going to be an opening for all of the other Muslims. So we're in theatres like the one that we have now. This is not done before. Inshallah, this is going to be an opening for everyone else. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is what you want to be at the forefront of doing that, inshallah. So I feel like the intentions, there was someone there, whoever it was, I don't know, their intentions was probably the cause of this, of why that night was like that. Because there must have been someone who had such pure intentions. That's why it runs so smoothly. And like I said, akhi, it's got nothing to do with me. That day, every volunteer, I can't say anything bad about them. I can't, like, they did whatever was expected. They did beyond what was expected.
You know, it was like Allah blessed us with the perfect people and perfect team. And we had never met these people before. It was our first event, and we just put it out there and said, look, we need some volunteers. And the response gives me goosebumps, bro.
Yeah.
And then the people who turned up, the brothers, the sisters, akhi, they just handled business.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember going up to one brother, giving him a radio and saying, bro, look, you need to have this radio on you. If there's anything, you need to contact this person, handle it. Gave the same radio to his sister, the head sister. if there's any problem, handle it. And then actually all you heard from everyone just like there was no issues. Actually, they're just yes. Like they just
Yes, literally, that's the word.
I'll
Yes,
deal with it.
that
And
is the word.
It's like you're talking to people, bro. Allah Mubarak, who they're not yes people. They're not like
Yeah.
yes sir, yes. Actually, but they like every person was their own boss.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Like
You
it was
subhanallah.
like it's done, taken care of,
Yeah,
taken care of.
subhanallah.
I was like, wow, like you're making it so easy for me.
Yeah, subhanallah.
And you know when there's people like that, akhi, there's no way you can thank them.
You can't. You really
What are you
can't.
supposed to do, bro?
That's what I'm saying. I can't explain. Akhi, you won't be able to explain the feeling, that the vibe that there was on that day. You can't put it into words. You have to be there. Do you know what I mean? You have to, because there's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses something, He doesn't just like he makes there's a feeling there. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And there were certain things that was mentioned on the show as well. Like certain stuff about Allah and stuff like that was mentioned. So I do believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels were around to bring that vibe, inshallah.
Also,
not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the way, the angels, because Allah
angels,
subhanahu
of course,
wa ta'ala,
the
I
angels
just
were
want to
there.
make that clear.
No, of course. Talking about the hadith where the angels are in the blessed gatherings. Yeah, and they speak to Allah about them. So definitely, I agree with you in that team is what made that event, and it's a shame that you're not ashamed, because I was gonna say it's a shame that people don't know who they are. People don't know that really was a success of the event, probably because of the staff or the volunteers.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing is that Allah knows who they are.
Subhanallah. Yeah.
And the amazing thing is, actually, two things that I find amazing is at least like a big portion of those volunteers. There's three things actually that I think are amazing about volunteers before we move on. The first one is that a big portion of them didn't live in London and don't live in London.
Subhanallah. Not even in the country.
Actually, some didn't even live in the country.
Not
But I
even
still
in the
don't live
country, and volunteered.
And they volunteered. They got their flight. Actually, they came here and they really helped the event. And a lot of them came from outside London, so Leeds, Leicester, Manchester, XYZ. Yes, that's one thing I find amazing. Second thing I found amazing is that I think it was one of the volunteers who did an amazing job. Wasn't even a volunteer, and they accidentally we accidentally thought they were a volunteer. And they just took the role on, because we were briefing the volunteers. We were like, yeah, come in, like, for the briefing, because there was early, and
it was the best gift. It was a gift, akhi. Wallahi, man, it was a gift.
And they just handled it. They were like, yeah, cool, I'm done. And they just took a t-shirt. And then the third thing that surprises me so much this day, because you deal with the hospitality side of things, with regards to you manage all the volunteers, and you manage kind of like a lot of the stuff outside of the theatre itself. And it's like a really cool management team. So like, the management structure is the management team is very small, and it includes myself, yourself, so a few brothers, and the thing I was gonna say, that surprised me is that when you rang me and you told me, or we were on the phone and you told me that every single volunteer from the last event has said that they want to come back and volunteer for this event.
Subhanallah.
Allahu Akbar. I was like, wow, what? The whole dream team wants to come back. Amazing.
There's something else.
Amazing.
Sent from Allah. Literally, I don't have anything bad to say about them. I don't know. I don't know. Like you said, Allah knows who they are. Do you know what I'm saying?
You know what I would love, bro? Honestly, like dream, bro, is Freshly Grounded to become so big that it requires a team, like an office of people who can just work on different departments of FG, and we just take that team, actually. That team, and you got jobs here, and that's it. Yeah. And taking care of this, taking care of that, and then when it comes to event, we come together. You know what I mean? I would love that. I'd love for the Freshly Grounded to have like so many arms where we can build out, where we can provide a halal environment, a good income, and an enjoyable experience for
100%.
the ummah, akhi. When they can work
100%.
on work something that they love and enjoy and they get paid well. It's such a dream, and we're so far from that dream, but it's good to have that vision in mind, akhi.
Inshallah, with the people that watch Freshly Grounded, you've got a really loyal bunch. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
They love Freshly Grounded. Even me, akhi. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a person. I'm not gonna lie. I watch every single episode.
Wow. That's amazing.
When
And you're on the
it
team,
comes out.
akhi.
Subhanallah, yeah. I really enjoy Freshly Grounded, and I believe a lot of people are really passionate about Freshly Grounded as well. But we cannot get to that stage unless we have support.
Of course.
If we have support, we'll be able to do many things. And this is not about like just Freshly Grounded. This is more than about Freshly Grounded. I genuinely believe that this is something that could change the whole situation with the Muslims. When because I used to also be not practicing before, yeah, until I got to about 21 years old. When I was about 21 years old is when my life changed, and of course it's a different type of life that you're living before. And then when you get into when you start to practice, what happens is you don't know where to go. And of course for myself it was a slow process of changing. It was never like something where I started practicing and then khalas, I literally stopped every single thing that I was doing. No, it was never like that. It was always something gradual. And sometimes you need things in your life that is going to support you in that. And I feel like Freshly Grounded is there's a good balance there, which accommodates for all types of background when it comes to the Muslims. And I believe that if it came to a stage where we can have shows literally every single week, like you have, let's say for example, instead of them watching TV, instead of watching the shows that they normally watch, they can watch something that is at least more halal. Do you know what I'm saying? At least something that is halal, and they don't have to go and see, for example, a man doesn't have to see astaghfirullah, like a naked woman or anything like that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And you have this on TVs, akhi. On TV you have the filthiest things on live TV. I'm not talking about it's not even like the paid ones where like Sky or anything like that. On normal Freeview TV, akhi, it's out there. Like after, let's say for example after maybe 9 o'clock or something, that's it. Even before 9 o'clock there's some like dodgy stuff, but like 9 o'clock onwards or whatever, 10 o'clock, wherever it is, akhi, there's madness going on. Literally, astaghfirullah, like madness going on, like proper. Like I'm sure you're aware of like things that are on there, which don't need to even be mentioned. But if we was to be able to provide something like that, not only would you'll be helping the ummah, you'll be helping in people sinning less. Do you see what I'm saying? So they'll be sinning less by instead of watching something that's haram, they'll be watching something that's halal. Instead, now they have a night to go out and enjoy themselves, instead of like people going to, I don't know where they go, they might be going to shisha cafes, they might be going to, I don't know, clubs, wherever they may be going. Instead of going to them places, now they can actually enjoy something where they can go to a halal place and they can enjoy. It's not even, I'm not gonna lie, akhi, I've been to other events, but Freshly Grounded gives you everything in the one package. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that because you obviously just mentioned that I'm like part of management and whatnot. I'm not mentioning it from that perspective. I'm a person personally. I'm a person who listens to Freshly Grounded every single week. Do you get what I'm trying to say? From my drives from Coventry to London, I listen to it every single week. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I'm only management because you even allowed me to be in that position. Do you see what I'm saying? Regardless of whether you made me management or not, I was passionate about Freshly Grounded from the beginning. Do you see what I'm saying? I watched how many episodes before I became a part of that. Do you see what I'm saying? I maybe watched about, let's say 90 episodes. When I started becoming part of this team is close to the Freshly Grounded 100, right? So I'm not saying this from that perspective. I'm saying it from a perspective of an actual fan, of not just an actual fan, but someone who I hope so that I care about the ummah. Do you see what I'm saying? And they need some sort of an alternative, and especially coming from a background where I never used to be practicing, to come and practicing, I know what it's like to not have something that's halal. Like when you're with, say for example, you start practicing and you've got your friends who are maybe they're not as practicing as you, or whatever the case may be, and then they're going to these places and you're like, oh, I can't go there though. Then they say to you, okay, so where should we go? and you don't have nothing to say.
Yeah, you don't
That's a problem, akhi.
Yeah.
And when you don't have places to go, there is places to go, but like you don't know about them because you've been living 20 years of your life in a different way. Like how you're not gonna know unless you're really exposed to these kind of stuff. And I feel like Freshly Grounded is a platform where we could do that, but we need your guys' support in trying to basically to have that opening, inshallah.
Yeah, man. I think that sometimes it's belittled, like how much someone's signing up for Patreon, for example. And this episode was never meant to be an advert.
Yeah, subhanallah, man.
But because we're talking about it, and again, we, like I always mentioned, we've done 122 episodes of Freshly Grounded now, and not one of them has been scripted, so we didn't even know we were going to start talking about what you just mentioned. But first of all, I want to say that. So first of all, I want to say that about the Patreon thing. Like the Patreon thing is crazy because the algorithm of that is that if the people, if like like a good bunch of Freshly Grounded supporters jump onto the Patreon, which a lot do, alhamdulillah, or we've got a fair few, and even the few that we do have, it does help cover some of the costs of Freshly Grounded, because now obviously, as you know, the costs are like through the roof because we've just moved to a new studio and stuff. So but it helps with even little things like audio hosting, which costs £25 a month. Now it's not £25 a month's not killing us, but it helps that some costs become alleviated off. But the crazy thing is that with Patreon, if we had like 5% of our listeners, maybe even like like 5%. So 95% didn't even went onto Patreon, but just 5% on Patreon. Sorry, because I'm trying to do the mental maths. Yeah, that's right. On Patreon, but the whole operation could run on a level where we wouldn't even need another sponsor. Yeah. Or we would never be worried. Do you know what I mean, akhi?
Yeah.
But the problem is that sometimes the problem is that the 95% in any situation might think that because it's only 5% that I don't need to kind of be that person. Yeah. And bro, we love our listeners who are patrons and who are not patrons as well. I'm not trying to guilt anyone into becoming a patron. Yeah. My point is that we value so much just that one every single person, like no matter how they support. And the other thing I want to say is that with Freshly Grounded, the reason I feel so comfortable talking about it, and I never used to feel comfortable talking about things of mine that are like achievements or anything like that, right? But the reason I feel so comfortable about Freshly Grounded is because I feel like the reason Freshly Grounded, one of the like things that is so beautiful about Freshly Grounded is that right now I'm like the face of it. It's Sam and I, but no doubt like the people probably see me more because with regards to like the little update videos and stuff like that, or the behind the scenes stuff. But the point of Freshly Grounded is that it doesn't need me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like if I die tomorrow, somebody will take Freshly Grounded over. And we've got like sometimes hundreds of thousands of listeners in a month. And out of all of those listeners, I do believe that the majority of them understand the vision of Freshly Grounded, and I would trust it in their hands. Yeah. And that's what I love about it, because my personal, when I used to do YouTube, and I still do YouTube and stuff, but when I used to put that at the forefront of what I did, there was always something that I felt uncomfortable about with it, because I thought like it's just me promoting me. It feels a bit off. But with this Freshly Grounded, I'm trying to promote the movement of Freshly Grounded and what it stands for, so that when I die, inshallah, Freshly Grounded can continue and maybe get some barakah. Maybe it can help people, right? Whereas with me, even if I did build my personal brand to a level where I could help people, it dies when I die. Which seems a bit off. And also, like, is my personal brand going to work for me or against me in Yom Qiyamah? Because I'm still kind of trying to promote myself. It feels a bit off, right? I'd love to get Freshly Grounded to the point where it doesn't need me. I love doing the behind the scenes stuff Freshly Grounded as well. And the thing that changed a lot for me was when I was listening to a talk by Muhammad Hublis years ago. And this was, years ago, he must have done something, and he got him, like, he just spiked, like everyone started listening to him. I think it was around the time that he maybe did the Ali Banat interview or something. Yeah. So this was maybe 5 years ago or something. And he was doing a talk in a masjid, akhi, and he said he was talking about I don't know if it's an ayah or hadith, yeah, but where basically that the narration is, or the ayah or the narration is that Allah doesn't change the condition of a people until they change the condition of themselves. And then when he explained it, I don't think anything's ever hit me like a train as much as that. And he explained that actually, because sometimes you look around the world and you see suffering and you see poverty and you see children in situations where a child doesn't necessarily shouldn't be in and stuff like that, and you think to yourself, how can I help the world? Because there's all this happening and one man can't do it.
Yeah.
Not that I would even be able to, but I'm saying, like, if I did decide I'm making a difference, how do I change such a thing? Actually, Bill Gates is one of the richest men in the world, and he's dedicated his life to helping. Now he's dedicated his life now to philanthropy, but there's still so many issues in the world. So it proved that one man can't do it. Actually, one man cannot flip the world upside down and make it better necessarily, right? So, but this ayah made so much sense to me because, or this narration, because Allah is basically saying that if people change themselves, Allah will take care of the rest. But the way to actually fix the world is to fix yourself.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
Akhi, then that just hit me like, wow, that's the solution. Is looking inwards. So, and at first it didn't make sense. It's like, what? So if I fix myself, as in if I sin less and I become a better person, I'm better to my neighbors, the world, because of me, just improve myself, the world will start getting better and people in the world will stop suffering. Akhi, even though it doesn't make sense logically, we have to understand that sometimes our logic is limited. Yeah. And so I thought to myself, imagine if everyone in the world started improving themselves, naturally the world will start becoming a better place.
100%.
Naturally. So if we can create Freshly Grounded and do something where maybe inspire people to just in a small way become a better person, whether we inspire them to stop swearing, we inspire them to stop listening to filth, we inspire them to maybe become better husbands, better wives, better children to their parents, and also knowing that we are not perfect ourselves. We're not sitting 100%. Here on a pedestal saying we are great, but somebody has to like trigger something, right? And it's up to Allah in the sense that Freshly Grounded, if it was going to be Freshly Grounded, it's a bless. I feel so blessed by Allah that Allah has allowed me to do it. Yeah. Because Allah could have chosen anyone to do it.
100%.
And I'm aware of that. I'm aware it can be taken away at any point. And so I'm very, very grateful. And perhaps I don't show my gratitude enough to Allah for it. But my point is that if we could just inspire people to become a better neighbor, a better friend, and a better student, and basically better themselves, then we have a chance in fixing the world, because we fix ourselves and Allah fixes the world. So that really is the inspiration behind Freshly Grounded more than anything. And sometimes it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't make sense because we get lost, and but we have to bring ourselves back to that intention.
Yeah, definitely. So what you're saying, basically we already have the greatest example of that. And you know, sometimes these stories are told and like it becomes like this fantasy story, like the prophets and this and that. Like this you know, this stuff happened for real. Like this stuff happened for real. There was a guy who was receiving revelation from Allah. Like it's that deep. Do you know what I'm saying? It's that deep that someone was receiving revelation from Allah, and the people around him believed in him. Do you know, like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's actually, imagine someone that you know is receiving revelation from Allah. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, look, imagine the test that they had to go through for that. Okay, that's actually a test within itself.
And also, how many people? Sorry to cut you in there, but how many people also thought that he was crazy?
Yeah, subhanallah.
Like,
it's a test, akhi. Yeah. That him coming, that like revelation coming to him is actually a test for the people as well. Do you see what I'm saying? Because like you have a person there, akhi, like he's. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I understand. Yeah.
But what I was basically trying to say is that these people, the Sahaba, they changed, and they became the best people. Do you see what I'm saying? By changing their character, by changing them. What you just explained, they did it, And these are just, they're not fairy tales. Do you see what I'm saying? They actually did it. Like, it's not easy. It's 100% not easy. That's why we're struggling with it. Do you know what I mean? It's something really, really difficult. And building your character is one of the greatest acts of like worship that you can do. A person can get Jannah for their character, bro. For their good character. Do you see what I'm saying? And like the Prophet ﷺ, he did not come for anything except for what?
Character.
Good character, right? The perfect character, right? So if that, like, by what you just explained, by if we do this here, if we do this here, it will change. And look what the Ummah became. The Ummah was literally more than maybe half of the world. Maybe I'm
The Ummah now?
No, before.
I'm not sure.
Before. So when you look at how Islam spread so much, why did it spread so much?
Character.
Character.
Yeah, character.
People
You're right,
dealing with each other
Yeah,
through transaction
Amazing.
of how they bought and sold stuff. But subhanAllah, now you look at the situation now we have.
Makes you realise how bad our character is, isn't it, akhi?
We don't trust the Muslims. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, as in, it is that bad, akhi.
Akhi, all of us, though.
We have
Not
to
even-
we have to
yeah.
say it how it is, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you might prefer going to an English guy rather than going to. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you might, like, as in, for example, like in my culture.
Or
anyway,
you mean like a non-Muslim, for example?
in my culture, like, say for example, if there's a business like that you're working in and it's not known as like the white man job, yeah, then it's looked down upon. Like, as in, because, like, say for example, a turkey shop, yeah, they're very unprofessional.
Oh, so they prefer to go to a non-Muslim.
Yeah, like, as in,
Yeah.
it's looked high. It's looked highly. It's but because they put stuff into place. But what I'm trying to say is, we used to be such people that people wanted to be like us. But now it's become like the opposite. But I feel like it's slowly getting better, though.
Even that, like, I remember putting out a post once, and even like how you mentioned that sometimes people, like in the older generation, they even speak about non-Muslim. They will say, like, for example, the Englishman or the white man. And I remember putting out something on my Instagram and saying, like, we need to change even that, because sometimes we're talking about non-Muslims, but we say, like, the English person or this, that, the other. But actually, there's so many Muslim English people, so English white people. So, and we need to even police ourselves in making sure that we never become people with prejudice. In the sense that, actually, you know what? I think like the majority of my Muslim friends are reverts.
Reverts, yes, subhanAllah.
Ajib, akhi. So, I think even that, like, and I see in my culture a lot, like, you know, you say like, like this Gora, for example, which means white person, but it's dangerous rhetoric, because
it is dangerous. Yeah.
Because, and even when you talk about non-Muslims, obviously, generally we should speak about all people good, but I'm saying, like, perhaps they'll say, like, you know, they'll talk about certain characteristic of a non-Muslim, like, for example, like if a non-Muslim doesn't, like, for example, drinks alcohol.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of non-Muslims do drink alcohol, and drinking alcohol is something that we don't do, and is obviously shunned, because you see the effects of being drunk, and like the a lot of bad stuff that it leads to. But when talking about, for example, drinking, we have to be careful of differentiating, like, we have to be careful with the rhetoric we use, basically.
Yeah, I didn't want to come like.
No, you didn't. But you're talking about our previous generations.
Yeah.
And I agree with you.
Yeah, it's fun. It's something that we need to change.
But these things, and I'm strong on that, bro, because then with our children, we might end up like teaching them things that we just through our language, we're saying things that we don't even mean, bro.
Yeah. Yes.
It's so important, like, but. Like, and that's why, like, we get so many comments on Freshly Grounded even now, when people, like, you know how many comments we still get to this day of people saying, how can Sam be a Muslim when he's got toes? Okay, what? A brother he was non-Muslim, and he got toes, and then he became a Muslim, and what? So are you saying he cannot be a Muslim now? It makes zero sense, akhi. 0 sense. But to this day,
I think that's a bit that kind of stuff anyway is a bit hypocritical anyway.
But it's because of ignorance, akhi. You have to, it's because of ignorance. And it's important for us to educate ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
It's very important for us to educate ourselves, because of ignorance that for somehow a lot of people somehow have not learned that someone like Sam can be a Muslim.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
A lot of people, because we get a lot of comments on it. Actually, a lot of videos, YouTube videos, you look at the comments and it says, remove your tattoos, hide your tattoos. The brother's tied up to the neck, What, you want him to just roll around all the time with a pull? I understand to a level, but he tries. You know, when he's in Salah, he tries to make sure he's wearing full sleeved. He tries to hide his hands. This is what he's conscious of. This is the beauty in his character, that even though he knows that he can't do nothing about certain things, because he'd put himself through so much pain to remove the amount that he has. But you don't see man walking around with a string vest and shorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even if you did, like if he was on holiday, like we gotta have some hikmah, bro. Like even if he should cover something, we have to have hikmah, and it's tough because we have to educate ourselves somehow. We have to educate ourselves to that. Look, he can Nate become a Muslim, and it's like people talking about his tattoos. He wasn't Muslim.
People are stuck with the tattoos, yeah.
Yeah, we were onto it. People were onto the tattoos thing. So, but we have to be able to like. We have to be careful with that kind of stuff, because imagine, and Sam spoke about it before, he said something about how when he first went to Umrah, he spoke on a podcast that he said that like people, like he was getting like hit on the, like people were actually hitting him on his tattoo. Because obviously they can't speak English, so they're like trying to communicate. Surely that's not the right way to do, because at that point he had been Muslim for a few months. Like imagine if that turned him away, because he's like, bro, I'm not accepted here. I'm not accepted.
Yeah, see, subhanAllah, I see from this angle, I would say maybe social media is positive, like in terms of education. Yeah, because now people get to see people from, subhanAllah, you get to see a person from all the way across the other side of the world. Do you see what I'm saying? So those people, they'll be able to get to see that. They'll see that more often, and they'll become more educated. I feel like we also, especially the younger generation, was in a phase where, especially from the Turks and stuff that I was with, because our fathers came.
The Turks.
Yeah, the Turks.
It's so funny, Grace. It sounds like super illegal. The Turks.
The Turks. So when we came, so let's say for example, my dad came from Turkey. Yeah. We were like the first generation, so understanding the deen was a bit different. It was more cultural. Okay. Like, did you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
see, I'm second generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, but I'm sure even in second generation, there's probably things that are still attached, and people are still learning. No, is that not the case?
Oh, actually, do you know what? Having said that, my dad did come from Pakistan.
Okay.
It was my mom, but on my mum's side, I'm second generation.
Okay. But people are still generally learning, right?
Of course.
Yeah, they still got things attached to the deen, which are not really in the deen and stuff like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I feel like, and especially that I feel like we was in a unique time in the time frame. I feel like it was very unique for ourselves anyway, because we was kind of brought up here, and you're living like with non-Muslims, and like it's all different. And then you got your deen, and then do you know what I mean? Like it was a bit of a funny one, to be honest with you. So it's like kind of like it's scary, because you could go either way. Do you know what I mean? So if you're not really grounded or anything like that, or even if you are grounded, like it depends on how you're grounded as well. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of figure things out for yourself, and I feel like there's a positive side to it, but there's also a negative side to it. The positive side to it is that you start to learn things. You're more open. Do you know what I mean? You don't mind learning about these things and stuff like that. The negative side to it is that now you're open to everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
double-edged sword.
Yeah, subhanallah, man.
Yeah, agreed, actually.
Yeah.
Agreed completely.
Yeah. So I was going somewhere with this, but I forgot where I was going.
No, it makes sense what you're saying. Like essentially that our generation is like perhaps the generation that can like if everything was to go great, our generation can actually like sieve out the negative parts of our cultures.
100%.
And keep the good parts.
100%.
Because culture is beautiful.
100%.
And then that's how we would find pure Islam. And that's how we could all still enjoy each other's cultures. Like, an example is this. Like, I am able to appreciate so much about the Turkish culture by being friends with you. Because I also know that when you come to me, you talk to me about Turkish culture, you also have you've also come with having sieved out the stuff that doesn't go with the religion,
yeah.
and you bring the beauty of the Turkish culture.
Mhm.
And inshallah, likewise, I can show you the Pakistani culture,
Yeah.
which is so much beauty to it. And also like, but we relate. But the way me and you relate is through Islam.
Yeah, subhanallah.
But our culture is completely different, and I can show you the beauty.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It is what
Even that is a subhanallah.
Yeah.
It's an ayah within itself, akhi, man. Like two different cultures coming into one. Why? Because we're Muslim.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The reason why I was coming to that anyway is about the tattoos.
Yeah.
It was about the tattoos, as in we learn these things. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
That's what I was basically trying to say. So yeah, subhanallah, life's a journey, innit? At the end of the day, there's a lot to learn. Like I don't, you know, the people have been living their lives differently. Do you know what I mean? Like I said to myself, I've been living 20 years of my life, 21 years of my life, in a different light, and then all of a sudden it's a change. So things, even to me at the beginning, I was Muslim before, but like I was Muslim. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, do you get what I mean? So a lot of things were new to me. A lot of things I had to learn. I had to develop myself. I had to develop my understanding. Certain things were just like, in the beginning it was like black and white. This is haram, this is halal. You know what I mean, innit? Like you go through that phase, and then slowly you kind of start to understand certain things in a different light. I feel like people just need to like just take a step back and just reevaluate themselves. Mainly, I would say focus on themselves. Like the conversation that we just had about cleansing themselves. That's the main thing. And I would say, if you don't have the Quran in your life, you need to have the Quran in your life.
Yeah.
That's because the Quran, it is a cure for anything. The Quran will cure you. And if you have that intention, coming back to the thing that we were talking about, intentions, if you have the intention for the Quran to cure you, the Quran will cure you. The Sahaba, they were ordinary men. There was like me and you. There was like anyone in whoever's listening. The Sahaba was just normal people like you. But what changed them? It was the revelation. It was the Quran. It was what came down, what they learned from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But ultimately, by reading the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as I mentioned, the Quran is a cure. And if you have that intention, inshallah ta'ala, the Quran will also cure you of the disease of your heart. And that's like curing your disease of your heart is like the main thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if you cure your heart, yeah, there's a hadith about it as well. I don't know off the top of my head, but about the heart.
Oh,
if it's upright,
yeah, something about if the heart is.
There's a flesh in your body.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, and I'm sure
and if
the
it
listeners
is like corrupted, the whole body's got something
exactly. So, what we need to do as Muslims is make sure that our hearts are sound. If we have a sound heart, then this ummah will go a long way. Yourself, you will go a long way. Things have happened. I know people that things have happened in their lives via trying to cleanse their hearts through the Quran. Things have changed in their lives dramatically. Do you know what I'm saying? Things that they would have never thought would have happened to them. Do you know what I mean? And it's amazing, akhi, what the Quran can do. But what you need to do is you need to pick up the Mus'haf and you need to start reading. You need to start understanding a little bit what you're doing. It doesn't have to be like something where you're doing it for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Let's say, for example, if you've never, like if you don't read the Quran, just read an ayah. Just read two lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, whatever is easy for you. Read from it whatever is easy for you. That's all. If you're gonna say to me, I can only read once a week. Read once a week. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to. What happens is, and this is what I realized with a lot of brothers, especially the ones that started practicing, is they went all out in the beginning, and you hear this a lot. You always hear this a lot. They go all out in the beginning, just like in a race. When, say for example, a race begins, let's say for example it's a 1500 meters run, you're supposed to take your time. What happens is they rush it, and then they become out of they don't have any more energy left. So what happens is they stop, and they can't carry on. And a lot of brothers and sisters, what happens is that they rush it and they don't take their time, and then they become I can't remember the word for it, but basically they become exhausted and they can't move on. So take things at a time and read the Quran as whatever is easy for you, and slowly develop.
Okay, so besides, apart from a few of the technical issues that hopefully haven't come across too much on the screen, it's so lovely to have you here, bro. And honestly, if it wasn't 10 o'clock at night and 10 minutes past my bedtime, I would be able to. I think that we could carry on talking for another hour at least. Which Jazakallah khair for coming down, bro. You came from very far. In fact, you came from Coventry. You came very far. I appreciate you coming down, bro. Jazakallah khair. And it's great for me that the listeners of Fresh Uganda have been able to be introduced to you, because you're such a large part of these events that we do, and so they'll be able to kind of put a name to a face to a name, so or a face and a name actually to a role.
Yes.
Barakallahu feek, bro, and inshallah looking forward to the live event.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
I'd like to say thank you to you though, and also thank you to the audience as well. Whoever's been listening this far, I don't think that they've got through to this stage, but I don't know, man. I was a bit boring. But
nah, you weren't boring at all. It was amazing. It was one, like I said, it was one of my favorite episodes. Jazakallah khair, bro. And guys, thank you for listening to Fresh Grounded. This was episode 123, and we are out.